Hello and welcome to another edition of After the Whistle. I know you're watching and wondering why it's only me. Well, Mr. Burton, he's on a trip right now, so he's somewhere across the waters. So he'll be back next week. But you guys are stuck with me for the next hour, the one-man show. And we got a lot to talk about. NBA news. One team has punched their ticket to the NBA Finals for the fifth straight time. The Golden State Warriors are going to the NBA Finals, and it was pretty easy for them. They made light work of the Portland Trail Blazers. Everyone thought this series was going to be competitive, but it turned out it was not that competitive, and Steph Curry once again proved himself that he is one of the best players in the league because he completely took over this series. Portland had no answer for him. CJ McCollum, Damian Lillard, Mo Harkless, whoever they threw at him, it didn't faze him. I mean, the guy, he set the record for the most points in the four-game span with 146 points. He basically put up 30-plus points each game, 36 points, 37 points, 36 points, 37 points. So there's nothing you can do about that. And him and Draymond Green became the first teammates to have a triple-double in the playoff series, which is key to what they do. Everyone talks about their offense and how it staggers or how it's iso ball with Kevin Durant when Kevin Durant's in the lineup. But they are a team that's able to adjust. When Kevin Durant comes back, they're going to be able to adjust to his game, or Kevin Durant can adjust to the way they play, because this team, from what we've seen the past 2 years, this team has no problem sharing the ball, and they have no problem taking a backseat to someone, especially when someone has the hot hand. And in this series, it was all about Steph. Now, we're going to look at these numbers. Steph Curry putting up 37 points, 13 rebounds, 11 assists. Draymond Green, he had back-to-back triple-doubles. I don't know if this is the first time that's happened. I doubt it's the first time that's happened in the playoffs. But Draymond Green, he put together a serious outing in this series. He played the style that he was playing in 2015. This is the Draymond Green that I saw in 2015. The guy, he was just aggressive. Portland, for whatever reason, did not know how to stop the ball. Every time Draymond Green got the ball, up the court he goes. Nobody stops the ball. It either turned into an easy layup or he found his man. So the way the Warriors initiated their offense, it was stellar. It was smooth. And Portland just definitely had no answers. And we also got to give credit to the Warriors bench, because these guys, they came up big. Kevon Looney and McKinney, they came up big in this game, especially Kevon Looney with his 14 rebounds, 6 offensive rebounds in Game 4. I mean, there's not much you can do about that. And the loss of Nurkic really showed for Portland in this series, because you know, the Warriors, their team, you could beat them up on the glass, but in this series, they did it as a collective group. And Kevon Looney, he just came off the bench and he did pretty well. He played his role. And once again, this shows how the Warriors, they're just able to play team basketball. Now, if we look at the Blazers, I don't know where they go from here. Damian Lillard and CJ McCollum, there was too much for them to bear. The Warriors were just too much for them to bear. I mean, those two could win you games against teams like the Nuggets and OKC, but against a team like the Warriors, you need everybody to help you in this series. And CJ McCollum and Damian Lillard, what the Warriors did, they trapped those two guys. They did not let those guys get in any type of rhythm in each of the games. They held both of them to 22 points per game in each series. Damian Lillard shot 36% in the series. He shot 37% from the field. So there's not much you can do about that, especially when your best players is not having the outing that he's been having the first round. Even the second round, Damian Lillard was here and there, but he did produce some big plays in the second round. But in this one, the Warriors were just too much. You got to give kudos to Klay Thompson and the defense that he played on him. And if we look at CJ McCollum's number as well, 39% from the field, 34% from the three-point line. Honestly, it just wasn't the Blazers' time. They need another player. Because they have pieces. They have good role players, solid role players. Collins, Myers Leonard, Nurkic coming back is going to help, but they need another offensive player, another wing player. That's what they're missing. They need a wing player. I mean, Jimmy Butler's out there. Jimmy Buckets, he can help them. He could take some of the load off of McCollum and Lillard offensively, because those two guys, it's too much for them to bear, especially against the Warriors. It's just too much for them. Now, I don't know where the Blazers go from. The Blazers are going to give Lillard, they're expected to give Lillard a supermax contract worth up to $190 million this summer. So that's securing their backcourt, but they need a wing player. They need a solid wing player because this is this formula that they got going right now. Every time they've run into the Warriors, they've lost to them each time. They are now 0 for 3 in the playoffs against the Warriors, 1-12. 2016, they lost to the Warriors 4-1. 2017, they got swept. 2019, they got swept. So they've been swept 3 times in the postseason the past 3 years. 2017, last year, and this year. Granted, last year was the first round. This year, it's in the conference finals. But hey, they need a big game. They need to find a way to get over the hump because they just don't match up with the Warriors at this point in time. And also for the Warriors, they are the 5th team. They are the 2nd team in NBA history to reach 5 straight NBA Finals. The Boston Celtics from 1957 to 1966 did that, going to the finals, and I believe they only lost in the finals 1 time. So the Warriors have a chance to become the first team to three-peat since, I don't even know who was the last, since the Lakers. The Lakers were the last team to three-peat, so the Warriors could be the first team since the early 2000 Lakers to repeat. And this team is going to be hard to beat the way they're playing. And when they add Kevin Durant, it's just going to be more lethal because people are saying that they play better without Kevin Durant, or they're more successful without Kevin Durant. That's all baloney. When you have a guy like Kevin Durant, life is going to be a lot easier when he comes back in the lineup, especially the way they're playing. So we'll see where the Warriors go from here because, I mean, they're going to face up against the winners of Toronto and Milwaukee. Here's a quick note for that series. The Warriors in the regular season were 0-2 against Toronto, and they were 1-1 against Milwaukee. They lost to Milwaukee in Oracle and then went to Milwaukee and beat them. And they lost to Toronto in one game where Kevin Durant scored 51 points, and that was in overtime, and then they lost to them again. So that's just of note when you decide to choose who's going to be the finals favorite. So as we move on, the Bucks and the Raptors are now tied 2-2 in what has been quite the up and down series. Toronto, they looked down and out after those 2 losses in Milwaukee, but they came back and served home court. Kawhi Leonard, he has been everything advertised. He's been carrying the load for the Raptors because some of his guys haven't been showing up. Danny Green, we need to put an APB out on Danny Green because he has been horrible in this series, especially the last 2 games. I don't think he had a 3-pointer at all in any of the last 2 games. Fred VanVleet, he finally showed up and made some key plays. He was struggling. And we got to give a lot of credit to the Raptors bench in this game. They had 48 points off the bench. Nolan Powell, Serge Ibaka, they had 18 and 17 points each. So that's going to be key for the Bucks. That's going to be key for the Raptors because the Bucks, they play so much. They play everybody. They're always rotating guys in and out. And you're going to just need to give Kawhi a break here and there. And I forgot to add VanVleet. He had 13 points in last night's game. So the only consistent man off the bench has been Powell because each game he had 19. He had one game he had 6, but that game was a blowout. They wasn't winning nothing. So that's been happening with them. And also what we got to note for this, the Bucks, Giannis Antetokounmpo, he got put in those handcuffs by Kawhi Leonard. When they put Kawhi Leonard on Giannis could not do anything. Kawhi Leonard completely locked him down each time. In Game 3 especially, he locked him down. Giannis only had 12 points in that game. Yesterday, Giannis came out aggressive. They didn't put Kawhi on him the entire game, but every time they put Kawhi on him, he had a hard time scoring. He was 3 for 7 from the field when he was guarded by Leonard in last night's game. And overall, in these past 2 games, when guarded by Leonard, he's 5 for 19. So whatever Leonard's doing to him, it's effective because whenever he gets on him, he's not getting to the rim easily. And when he does, Leonard and his big hands, he makes it difficult for him to score. There was a few times he blocked it. There was a few times he got a jump ball. And even one time, Leonard on the offensive end came down and put one in his face. So what I say about Giannis all the time is he really has no moves. He's just a guy that throws himself throws himself at defenders. He's not a guy that's going to give you a crossover and give you a step back. He's just going to go 100 miles per hour to the rim. And what the Raptors are doing there, the Celtics did this in round one. They put a wall around him. And, you know, whenever he drove, they made sure there was somebody in front of him. There was a body in front of him. That's what you got to do to Giannis. Make him beat you with the jumper. Because the jumper is not consistent. And offensively, he's pretty easy to defend because he doesn't have a lot of moves. I think his consistent move is the Euro step. He Euros anytime. So if you could keep him in front of you, just keep him from getting to the rim, which Kawhi has done. Now they're gonna have to take this same game plan and execute in Milwaukee, which has seemed to be a problem for the Raptors so far in this series. Game one, they had that game. They played very well, but they gave that game away. So we are going to see what's going to happen in that game because in order for the Raptors to advance to the NBA Finals, they're going to have to win one in Milwaukee. So we shall see what will happen over there. But I think this series might go this series will pretty much go the distance because I don't think there's an advantage. And these two teams are evenly matched. So we'll see. Game number 5 will be tomorrow night, and we're guaranteed a 6 game. So this series is going to go into the weekend, and Game 7 I believe will be will be Monday. So we'll see. I'm hoping for a Game 7, but this is going to be quite this might be the most. This is just a consolation prize because those guys in the Bay, I think they want that three-peat. So we'll see what happens. In other NBA news, this one, I don't know if you guys watched. You watched that for ESPN First Take the other day. Magic Johnson, he went on First Take and he aired out dirty laundry. He just threw people under the bus. Magic pretty much burned the house down. That's what he did. He went there, and ironically, the Lakers were introducing Vogel as their new head coach. They had a press conference where the same day that Magic Johnson went on national television and basically told all the business that was going on, the dysfunction. And me, from watching all this, from listening to all this, the Lakers are a big mess. They are a hot mess, dysfunction at its finest. They are making the Knicks look like a stable organization right now, and that's saying a lot, knowing how unstable the Knicks have been for the betterment of 20 years. This is terrible what happened. But I guess the Magic's biggest problem from what I got is they was talking about his back. Rob Pelinka was talking about him, was saying stuff behind his back. Jeannie Buss didn't give Magic the authority to fire Luke Walton, which Magic wanted to do. Pelinka said Magic wasn't always there on the job. He didn't spend as much time as he needed to be on the job. And I think this is something that all three of them could have sat in a room and had a conversation about this, because you could just tell there was something wrong after Magic just basically quit without telling anybody during the last game of the season. That's when you knew it was just there's something going on. It's a disaster. But if you're the president of basketball operations, I think that's one of those jobs. It's a 24-hour job. That's a job you have to put in overtime. And I don't think Magic wanted to put in overtime, or he wanted to do it his way and not be in the facility all the time. He wanted to just do things Magic way, and I guess him and Pelinka had different views, and Pelinka was telling that to other people. And you got to understand, Magic Johnson, he's been a Laker since the early 80s. So he's been involved with the organization for approximately 40 years. So I'm pretty sure Magic knows people that are going to tell him stuff. I know Magic has people that are there that are probably, whenever something's said about him, he'll find out within the next probably 5-10 minutes. So it was interesting. This was definitely one of those things. They could have had a conversation elsewhere. They could have sat down with each other and talked about it, instead of Magic going on national TV and just, he was just airing out all the laundry. And the guy most effective that we all know is LeBron James, because in his head, he didn't think he was coming to LA for this type of dysfunction. I'm pretty sure he knew the Lakers had some type of dysfunction before he signed on, but I'm sure he didn't think it was going to get to this point. But hey, LeBron, you got another 3 years. If anyone could make the Lakers stable again, it'll probably be LeBron, just because LeBron is LeBron. He's going to do what he needs to do, and he wants that 4th NBA chip. So it's going to be hard, but they are in the lottery. So we'll see what happens with the Lakers. But, yeah, this is a team that's they are dysfunctional. They need the lady to come fix their life or fix their organization, because this is just terrible. And quick NBA news. Ryan Saunders, the son of Flip Saunders, he was hired as the new head coach of the Minnesota Timberwolves. He was the interim head coach for the betterment of the season. I think this is a good pickup for them. Young coach, just up-and-coming coach, and they just needed, I think this was something, to honor Flip Saunders, for what Flip Saunders meant to that organization. And I think hiring him and the young players that they have, I think this may work out well. My biggest thing with this hiring is they need to do something about Andrew Wiggins, because Andrew Wiggins has been a bust. So he's been a bust. He's going to be going into his 5th year, I believe. He signed that big contract a couple summers ago, and his numbers has just been declining ever since he averaged that 23 points per game. Then they signed Jimmy Butler, and of course his numbers is going to dip. But this season I don't know what was up with Andrew Wiggins, but he definitely is. He's looking more and more of a bust. I don't want to say that, but he's looking more and more of a bust. He has yet to make any NBA first team. He has yet to make any All-Star. D'Angelo Russell, who was picked in that same draft class, has made the All-Star. And Andrew Wiggins, he's coming off he was 18 points per game, 4 rebounds, 2 assists. So, I mean, for a guy that was picked number 1 overall, this is kind of disappointing. And the numbers I'm looking at here, ever since his 3rd year, when he averaged that 23 points per game, like I said, the numbers just keep declining. He averaged 17 points last season and 18 points this season. You saw the increase from his rookie year to his 3rd year. He went from 16 points, 20 points, to 23 points, and then everything, I don't know. But Andrew Wiggins, he needs to step up. He needs to be that franchise player that they were hoping to be, because he might just be another highly talented player who's just, who didn't live up to the hype. That's what it's looking like right now. So we'll see what happens with the T-Wolves, but maybe they could get Kevin Garnett back in there somewhere to help the organization out, which they do already, but give him some type of job over there. Now, Anthony Davis, the drama with Anthony Davis. This is, where do the Pelicans go with Anthony Davis? Now, they have the number 1 pick. Anthony Davis, it's clear that he does not want to be there anymore, and I'm not sure what the Pelicans are doing. The Pelicans at this point, they need to figure out a way to make a trade for him. I know the Celtics. The Celtics have pieces to trade for Anthony Davis, but I'm not sure if Anthony Davis will sign a long-term deal if he is traded to the Celtics. But they need to do something. The Pelicans already said they're not going to trade him to L.A., so they don't want to trade him to the Western Conference. I understand that, but at this point, you gotta. Hey, if the guy don't want to be there, he don't want to be there. So I think you need to just let him go, because keeping him there will make things even more complicated than they need to be. So we're gonna see what happens. I'm not sure, but if I was Anthony Davis, Boston is a good place to sign off. The Celtics are definitely a good organization, especially the dysfunction we had this year. The Celtics could definitely use Anthony Davis for the future if they want to be title contenders, because the team they put out this season was not title contenders. So we'll see what happens. But Danny Ainge, make that trade for Anthony Davis. We need another banner. It's been 11 years since we hung up a banner. We got 1 title in like the last 30 some odd years. So Celtics need another title. They need one. So let's get it together. Make the move. All right, the Boston, on a lighter note, some happy news. It's been 100 and something days since the last Boston championship. So it's only right that the drought ends. And the Boston Bruins ended that drought. The Bruins made quick work of the Carolina Hurricanes, sweeping them in 4 games to nothing. The Bruins, I don't know. It seems like this team has picked up momentum. They're playing well. It seems like they're on a roll. Usually in championship teams, when you see them get on this roll, they usually get on a roll late in the season. You always see it. Especially we've seen it in football, when the team just gets hot and they just start playing well. And the Bruins in this one, once again, the guy I'm always looking at is Tuukka Rask. This guy, he has been a saving machine in this series. He's been a saving machine in this postseason. Once again, in this game number 4, the last game of the season, the last game of this series, I should say, 24 saves. He had 100% save percentage in this series. He never let Carolina get in any type of rhythm. They never any shots on goals that they got it was difficult for them. I mean, the most goals he gave up was 2, and that was 2 games in a row. And then after that, game 3, it was 1 goal. In game 4, no goals. The first 2 games, he gave up 2 goals in game 1, 2 goals in game 2, and he was helped by the Bruins offense. Bruins offense, the first game was 5. They had 5 goals. Second game, 6 goals, and then 2, 4. They did just enough. So I think the Bruins now. I think the Bruins are favorites. I didn't look this up, but I'm pretty sure that they should be the favorites against the St. Louis Blues, who we're going to talk about right now. The St. Louis Blues, who they defeated the San Jose Sharks in Game 6 last night, 5-1. This were 2 games in a row. They put up 5 goals. San Jose couldn't. Their offense was After game number 2, I believe their offense struggled. San Jose's offense struggled. They had a few games here. They had 3 goals in game 1. They had 4 goals in game 2, which they won, and it was San Jose just didn't match up well with St. Louis. So now we're going to see St. Louis and the Boston Bruins. This is going to be this is the Bruins' first Stanley Cup appearance since, I believe, 2013 when they lost to the Chicago Blackhawks. I still remember that one. That was a tough one when the Blackhawks scored about 2 goals in about 35 seconds. So we'll see how this one plays out. But I think the Bruins might be. I think this is their year. I think this is their year to get it, because they've kind of been close a couple times, and last year they lost to Tampa Bay, and this year they're back in it. So we're gonna see. We're gonna look at the matchups here. Brad Marchand and the left wing Brad Marchand. We're gonna see if St. Louis can contain him, and Vladimir Tarasenko. I think I'm pronouncing that right, of St. Louis. The Bruins are gonna. The Bruins should do their best to try to contain him as well. And what my key thing for these NHL playoffs has been, I've been talking about goalies and how the importance of goalies. And we got 2 pretty good goalies, Binnington and Tuukka Rask. I think Tuukka Rask overall is probably, I'm a homer, so I think Tuukka Rask has the advantage. Tuukka Rask, the way he's been playing this postseason, I think his overall save percentage is around 97 or somewhere in the mid-90s. Binnington, he hasn't been bad this postseason as well. He has about a 92 save percentage in this postseason. He had a 93 in this series against San Jose, giving up. He had 26 saves, I should say, 24 saves in one game, 27, 29, 21, 25. So this guy, it's going to be hard to get goals on him, but I think the Bruins got a lot of people that can actually get shots on goals and score on these guys. So we'll see what happens. But the Stanley Cup Finals starts on Monday. Monday coming up, May 27th, 8 p.m. Game 1 is in Boston, so at 8 p.m. So Bruins, bring that banner. We need another title. Just bring it home. We need it. We need it for the culture. So everybody make sure you go support the Bruins for that one. And our NFL news, we got some NFL news. The NFL never ceases with the headlines. And Patrick Peterson is making headlines for the wrong reasons. This is usually the time NFL players make headlines for the wrong reasons. Around May, June, right before training camp, they make the headlines for the wrong reason. And Patrick Peterson, he will be suspended 6 games for violating the league's substance abuse policy. I think he used PEDs, I believe, was the reason he violated that 6-game suspension. They announced it last week. Originally it was 8 games, but I don't think he was I don't think he's going to appeal. He wanted to appeal it because I think he knew what he did wasn't right. So this is interesting for a guy who's been an 8-time Pro Bowler. This guy's been in the Pro Bowl each year. He's actually been a very, very productive cornerback since his rookie year. He's been one of the best cornerbacks in the league, and it's interesting. He's only 28 years old, so usually you see guys using these when they get around their 30s, early 30s. If they're playing into their 30s, usually guys get caught that. But for him, it's just going to raise questions now about his career. A lot of people are going to have question marks about him, rightfully so, because when you do get caught, get caught with these and you get suspended for those, it's that's a lot of question marks will be raised on you. So with Patrick Peterson, he's going to miss 6 games for a team that needs every single one of their best, every player available, because they have a new quarterback, a new coach. It's just a new culture, a new. Well, I forgot the word I was going to say. I forgot the word. It's just a new regime for the Cardinals. And you would think that everybody would be on the straight and narrow, so they could help Kyler Murray succeed. They could help the young defensive players that they have succeed. And losing your best cornerback is not going to help them as the season goes on. So we'll see what happens when they come back. He's scheduled to come back somewhere in October, around like the middle of October. We'll see. But this is, PEDs. It's sad, especially when we see a number one, a top 5 pick, first top 5 pick in the NFL draft, and you go down this route. It's a lot of people are gonna have question marks about your playing, your production on the field. But if we look at his numbers, he hasn't had interception-wise, he hasn't had a good one since his second year in 2012 when he had 7 interceptions. But he's been having 3 interceptions, 3, 2, 3, 1, 2, and that's also due to the lack of quarterbacks throwing it his ways. That also helps. But yeah, this is a big blow for the Cardinals, and maybe they could stay afloat until he returns. The New York Jets. We're talking about dysfunction. We've been talking about dysfunction a lot, and the New York Jets, they are a dysfunction. So last week we talked about how the Jets fired their GM and they placed Adam Gase as the interim GM, and finding out the reason for the firing was overlaid the signing of Le'Veon Bell. Apparently, the head coach did not want Le'Veon Bell. He did not want the team to sign Le'Veon Bell. I don't understand why they wouldn't want to sign Le'Veon Bell, especially when you have a young quarterback in Sam Darnold. You would need to take the load off of him. But apparently, the coach and GM have different views. So I guess they sided with the coach that's never done anything in this league, a coach who was in Miami and didn't do anything in Miami. I guess what we'll remember him for in Miami is that miracle play against the Patriots when they scored on the last possession of the game with the lateral, the hook and ladder or whatever. That's the most memorable thing. And his press conference is the most memorable thing, where his eyes were just, I don't know what was up with his eyes. But yeah, this is interesting. I would not side with the coach that hasn't done anything in the league or hasn't produced a winning team, but so be it. He denies it. He claims it's not true of him having a difference of opinion of signing Le'Veon Bell. He says it's not true. You're not fooling nobody. I think it's true. A lot of people think it's true. So, hey, you're stuck with Le'Veon Bell, so you better learn to get along. But this is just dysfunction, and especially firing the GM after the draft. You guys should have dysfunction. I don't like dysfunction. All right, Gerald McCoy was released from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He spent 8 years with the Buccaneers. He put together 54.5 sacks with the Bucs. I guess it was just that time for them to let him go. Right now, he's still out there on the market, but there are teams that are interested in him. The Cleveland Browns are interested in him. I've heard the New England Patriots. I've read that New England might be interested in him. And also Indianapolis Colts may be interested in signing him. I think that'd be a good signing if he went to the Colts, because the Colts, they're right there to be on a borderline Super Bowl team. They just need a couple pieces. They have the quarterback, they have the running back, they have the offensive line. They have players on defense. Their defense wasn't that bad last season, but I mean, it was horrendous against Kansas City. But it wasn't as bad as Colts defense usually is. So if they add Gerald McCoy, that could help in the run game. I mean, he can get to the quarterback from the defensive tackle position. I mean, granted he's older. I believe he's in his 30s now. He's 31, so I don't know how much more football he has left in him. But I think if the Colts want to get over the hump or want to pose a threat to the Patriots, they should sign him, because we all know the key to beat the Patriots. You got to get Tom Brady on the ground and make Tom Brady uncomfortable. And I think he might be a good pickup. So we'll see what happens with him before training camp or before OTAs. OTAs are happening right now, so we'll see what happens. We'll see who picks him up. Ezekiel Elliott, he had a little dust up with the law in Vegas at a music festival. He was not arrested. He was handcuffed because he had I guess there was a incident with security, it was just an incident with security. So he ended up being handcuffed, but he was not arrested at all. They didn't take him away. And this is, I mean, like I said, this is the time NFL players make headlines for the wrong reason, especially Ezekiel Elliott. Granted, he didn't get arrested, but he's already been in trouble with the league beforehand for some other stuff. And you would think he would just not do anything that will put him in a situation to have law enforcement involved. And then that's when the NFL has to look into it and investigate it themselves and see what happens. But nothing happened here. And he's in a contract year coming up. He wants a big contract. So you have to conduct yourself in a proper manner. You just can't, I mean, have incidents with security, especially at music festivals. I think some of these football players need to stop going to the music festivals, because or some of these athletes, I should say, not football, athletes, they need to stop going to these music festivals, because we just saw we read about Josh Jackson getting arrested at that Rolling Loud festival, another incident with event security. So these guys, they just need to stay on the straight and narrow, especially when you're up for a big contract. Ezekiel Elliott is only 23 years old. He's a good player, and you want to stay on the straight and narrow so you can get your money. Like, don't mess up your money just doing dumb stuff. And maybe he was drunk, or because it is Vegas. But hey, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. So nothing happens from here. But if anything else happens, we'll see. We'll find out about that. All right, Reuben Foster. In the sad news, Reuben Foster, this guy just can't catch a break. First, he had the off-field incident with the girlfriend. I'm not sure if that's still his girlfriend, but the issues with the girlfriend. The 49ers released him because of the issues with the girlfriend, about domestic violence issues that she lied about him hitting her, and then once again he got caught up in some other domestic violence issues with the same girl. So it's like he can't catch a break. And then during OTAs he tore his ACL, so his season is pretty much done, which is sad, because I'm pretty sure he was trying to get back on the football field to just, keep his mind away from the off-the-field stuff that's been happening to him. So it's a tough break for him for this to happen, especially in OTAs when they're not even working out in pads. They're out there in shorts and helmets, and for him to go down like that is pretty sad. So we'll see. I mean, we'll see what happens with the Redskins and their defense. They had the signing of Landon Collins. They definitely revamped their defense with signing Landon Collins and some other players. But this is a tough break for the young man. He just can't catch a break. He can't catch a break. So that's tough for him. All right, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, after releasing Gerald McCoy, they signed Ndamukong Suh yesterday for I believe a veterans minimum. Suh's coming off a Super Bowl appearance with the Los Angeles Rams. He had a good showing with the Rams, but I guess he was on that 1-year contract with the Rams. I guess the Rams didn't want to pick up his options, so he signed with the Bucs. This is a good signing with the Bucs. The Bucs do have some players on defense. I like the draft pick, the I forget the linebacker from LSU that they got in the top 5 with their first overall draft pick. And Ndamukong Suh, he'll help in the run game because he's a load. Guy. It's hard to block him in the run when you're trying to run the ball. So, and he commands double team. Granted, I don't know how much of a force he is now or how much he can his conditioning, but you know he's down there. The guy likes warm weather because he likes to play in warm weather. Ever since he left Detroit, he went to Miami, nice weather. Los Angeles, nice weather. Now he's in Tampa, nice weather. So he's sticking to his choices of nice weather. But he's coming off a season where he only had 4.5 sacks. But hey, what do you expect? I thought he was going to get more. Granted that he was playing with the best defensive tackle in the game, but Aaron Donald, the best defensive tackle in the game, but it was 4.5 sacks. This isn't much, but hey, it's hard to get sacks from the defensive tackle position. So we'll see what the Bucs do because they've been horrid on defense since. Yeah, they've just been horrid on defense. Also, another signing, the Patriots, they've re-signed Danny Shelton, and they also re-signed, Julian Edelman. So they picked up those two guys. Good pickup for the Patriots. You know, Bill Belichick, he interchanges his defensive players. Every year, he doesn't, you know, he rotates defensive line a lot. So bringing back these guys is good. They have experience. Julian Edelman, his deal is worth up to $9 million. It's a 2-year extension. It's not bad. Tom Brady's most reliable receiver, and I think Super Bowl MVP as well. So great pickup, great re-signing for. I think this was one of those, you know, thanks appreciation signing for Julian Edelman. I think this is one of those. Hey, you've done so much for the organization, so here you go. And Danny Shelton, he'll be good for the defense. Just another big guy to plug in there, clog up the lane, and you know, make it tough for defense. So I think the Patriots will be fine. I'm sure every year people talk about the Patriots and how it's gonna fall off, but they just find guys that fits the Patriots way. And you know, I'm sure playing for Cleveland the past couple of years, Danny Shelton, I'm pretty sure he's happy to be back with New England. So we'll see. We'll see how the Patriots season goes with this signing. And also in the NFL news, there was another signing. The Bills signed Jerry Hughes, the defensive end. Jerry Hughes, he was a first-round pick by the Colts, and then he was traded to the Bills. This guy, from everything I've seen from him, he's a pretty good defensive end. Granted, he's getting a little older. He's up there in age, but this was. I mean, you always gotta ensure your defense. He's 30 now. This is gonna be his 10th year going in. This is gonna be his 10th year in the league. So we'll see. But the Bills, I'm not sure about the Bills. I don't know what they're doing. I have no idea what the Bills. I just don't know what the Bills franchise is doing at all. I don't think they're gonna do anything this season. I don't trust their quarterback. Their defense, maybe they'll play well again, but we'll see. Looking at these numbers from Jerry Hughes, he had 7 sacks last season. He has 46.5 sacks for his career. The most he's had was 10, and that was his first year in Buffalo back in 2013. So, I mean, when you have good players, re-sign them, and we'll just see what happens with the Bills. But I'm not sure. They're not going to do nothing. Pretty much, the Bills are going to be the Bills. They're just everybody's going to hype them up. They're going to go into the season with all this hype and anticipation, and then same old. Patriots win the AFC East, and you know, oh well. And I believe that's it. All right, let's go to +1. So this was a cool +1. We had Alex Suarez, a.k.a. Jazz Official, on as a guest. And, you know, we talked about music, college, and all that good stuff. So +1, and then we're going to come back and, you know, wrap up the show. Hello and welcome to another edition of +1 Interview. Today we got a special guest artist, Mr. Alex Suarez. He goes by Jazz Official. He's got a show coming up Thursday. in Worcester. So we're gonna talk about music, life, college, all that good stuff. What's going on, sir?
Chilling, man. Life is good.
You know, yeah, life is good. Can't
Yeah,
complain, man.
Working.
So you on the mission right now, man. You got you know. I was looking through your stuff, and you know, your single Rambo.
Mm-hmm.
Back then, that was one single that charted.
Yeah.
I was putting that one together.
That was an experience. I actually did that song as like, I don't want to say as a joke, but I did it as like more like a freestyle fun thing.
Yeah.
I was working on a couple records at the same time, and that happened to be one of the ones that people gravitated to.
Yeah.
But I was really confused because I was like, I just spent like, you know, X amount of weeks working on this other one that was super intricate and, you know, X, Y, and Z, but the people gravitated to that, so we put that out, and that got a good reaction.
Yeah, it definitely did. You do got some, there was another song, I forget, but you know, it has that,
Oh, yeah, Round My Way.
Yeah, that I like that.
Shout out my man
background.
September for that, man.
Yeah. But you signed, so Slumdog Music Group. Now, you signed with them in 2013. Well, so tell me a little about Slumdog Music Group.
So, Slumdog Music Group is I came across them. I was in my sophomore year, going into my junior year of college. And at the time, we didn't do any type of business because I was working with other people.
Yeah.
And after some time went by, I came back around the following summer, and I just kept asking to go to the studio. And then eventually the owner just gave me a key. And you know, the rest is history.
So you basically pushed your way into the. So you basically made them know
kind of, man. It was one of those. I mean, he had heard my music before, and he was like, you know, I mean, you all right, you cool. Didn't really talk too much after that. And then when I came back the following summer, I had reached out to the person that had connected us before, and he was like, yeah, come by. And then, you know. And for me, you know, calling his phone every day, hey man, okay, can I jump in the studio?
Yeah.
We by the studio, to him just giving me a key and letting me do what I want.
But honestly, that's literally that's literally how you gotta do things pretty much in life. If you want something, you just gotta, if you see somebody that can get you in there, you just gotta harass them until they say, all right, fine. And then from there, it just took off for you, because I seen you
a little bit.
You was at the Grammys.
Yeah, that was an experience.
Yeah, how was that experience?
Man, the Grammys was cool, man. Shout out my man David Altino for inviting me out there. It was one of those things that I've always dreamed about, and I didn't know exactly how, what it would be like or what it would feel like. So I had a completely different interpretation of when I actually got there, and it was still just as cool, just as amazing, you know what I mean? But it also put an even bigger battery in my back, because it let me know that I could really do it. You know what I mean? I was just close as I am to you right now as I was to Tyrese Gibson, you know what I mean? So I was just like, damn, I'm this close to, you know what I mean, to that, but I felt so far at the same time. And it kind of like, you know, it let me know that I was heading in the right direction, but I needed a lot of work. Yeah,
now you said, you talked about that, you know, that, you just said that kind of, you were almost there, you were there, but you weren't there. And now you're back here, you're back in Lynn, and you're trying to do the same out here. You're trying to, people know Lynn, we're here, but we're not here yet as far as the music group.
Exactly.
The music scene, because you've talked about there's a lot of talented people out here. So that's one of the things you're trying to work on, is trying to, you know, get the spotlight on Lynn music.
Most definitely. I was explaining to you a little bit earlier, man. People in Lynn have a lot of talent. We have talent here like how people in LA and Chicago and everywhere else do. You know what I mean? The only difference between us and them really is that we don't support each other the same way that they did. We don't believe in ourselves the same way that they did. And that's one of those things that, like, I'll put it to you like this. People often feel like if me and you are from the same place and you make it where I'm from, that, damn, they took my shot. They took my chance. You know what I mean? And opposed to looking at it like that, man, you got to look at it like, word, he just brought more eyes over here. I should grind even harder, because now, you know what I mean, the attention is coming here, and now I could, you know, propel myself to a better situation through that. So instead of championing that, people kind of bringing that person down or whatever the case is. And fortunately enough for me, man, I've been traveling around doing a lot of shows and being appreciated for my music a lot. So it lets me know, man, that like for my music and because of the things that I'm talking about. So it lets me know, man, Lynn, there's a lot more of me out here in Lynn.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? People that are just as good, just as talented, working just as hard, but might not have, you know what I mean, the exposure or whatever the case is. So I want to bring that over here and let people know that, you know what I mean, we got it.
Yeah, that's definitely a good thing. Now, one interesting thing you were talking about is you became your own engineer. And being that, you're helping a lot of the artists out here too, since you know the engineering aspects. Just talk a little bit about that, just learning the engineering aspect of the music.
Yeah, man, so learning the music was interesting. Learning the engineering, I should say, was interesting because at the time I was working with some people and they weren't taking it as seriously as I was, or as they could have. So I realized that it really had to be on me to better my situation and to get myself out there. So I started like recording them. When they would be recording other people, I'd sit behind them and record them on my phone. And then after they leave or do whatever they do, I'd be in the studio by myself, and then I'd play back the video. I'd be like, okay, that's how we did that. You know, I started taking notes on that. And then I'd go on YouTube. So I take it more notes. I could show you my phone. It's funny, but I took it like school. You know what I mean? I took it like class. I was like, all right, this is how you use auto-tune. This is how you use EQ. Okay, word. So I started to do that. And fortunately enough for me, after graduating college, I've been able to do this outside of school. And record people.
That's a good thing to know because now that you learn the engineering aspect. You ain't got to pay somebody to be your engineer. You can be your own engineer. That's something that people should always learn. It's just to learn different aspects.
Self-sufficient.
Especially in a career that you want to do, you should learn different aspects. Just because some days they might need you for something because the person that's usually there isn't around.
That's true. That's true too.
That's good there. But at college, you went to Keene State. Graduated in 2016.
Yes, sir.
What made you choose Keene State?
I would say Keene State chose me. No, man. When I was in high school, I wasn't always doing the things that I was supposed to. You know what I mean? I was a knucklehead, getting in trouble, I thought I was going to go to the NBA. And to this day, I really believe that was going to be the case. But it didn't. It didn't work out for me. But as far as choosing Keene State, I wasn't the type of person that was looking at college as like my way out. I was looking at like sports as my way out. So I'm like, man, college, debt and all that. But when I got there and I really embraced the environment and the opportunity, it was a huge culture shock. You know what I mean? I'm from Lynn. There's a lot of mixed people here, a lot of different races and stuff, and we all get along. And then for me to go out there where it's predominantly Caucasian. It was very interesting. It was cool. It was an early experience, though.
College experience, nothing better than the college experience. Quickly, we just got a minute left. Tell me some artists out here in the city that we should all be watching out for. We should all be looking out for.
And man, I say everybody. I feel like that's the cliche answer, man. But everybody, man. There's people from Lil East to Juke to. You know what I mean? Sally Bucks to, I'm getting hot not thinking about everybody right now, but those are the three I could name off the top of my head that are doing their thing, and obviously myself. You know what I mean? Representing and doing their thing.
And if they want to find you, what could they find you?
Follow me at Jazz Official, at JASZ Official. And they can catch me on, actually this week I'm doing 3 show dates. I'm doing the 23rd at the Raven in Worcester. I'm doing the 24th in Attleboro, and I'm doing the 25th in Connecticut. So, you know what I mean? We're going to be out here.
Yeah, he's out here working, man. Hey,
sure.
Thank you for coming along, man.
Appreciate you having me, man.
No problem, man. All right, you guys, make sure you check him out. Go listen to his stuff. You guys have been watching Plus One. We out of here. And we are back. We back. We got to talk about this. So Deontay Wilder, he had a fight this past weekend. A fight that did not last long. I don't even think it lasted a minute. I'm not sure how long it was. But Wilder hit my man with the Infinity Stones and put him to sleep. It was over quick. It was over very quickly. That photo right there says it all. That my man was asleep. He was gone. He tried to get up to, but it was. I'd be mad if I bought those tickets to see the fight live, and it was just 45 seconds and that was it. But with this knockout and Anthony Joshua, he has a fight next month, and if Joshua wins that fight, we all are anticipating that these two will finally agree to get in the ring and duke it out, because there's been a lot of words said, but between the two from each camps as well about who's ducking who. One person don't want to sign. One person wants more money, or one person wants this. They need to just figure it out and give everybody what they want to seek, because we don't want this to turn into a Mayweather-Pacquiao thing where they just say, where each side is saying, oh, this person's scared or this person's scared, but they don't want to agree to this and all that. They just need to go, sit down, and make it happen, because that is going to be the biggest fight. It might be one of the biggest fights in history if these two go at it. But yeah, Deontay Wilder, I felt bad for, I can't even pronounce the guy's name, Brazili. I still can't pronounce his name. I felt bad for him, but yeah, he got hit with the Infinity Stones. I think Wilder knocked the soul out of him. He just, you could see his soul leave his body when he fell to the ground. So that fight was, just that photo alone says it all. So we'll see if Wilder and Joshua will fight. A lot of guys who are into boxing, a lot of guys who follow boxing, don't think it's gonna happen anytime soon, and they're not even trying to get their hopes up if Joshua wins his fight next month. So we'll see what happens, but I mean, keep hope alive, I guess. But it's boxing. The politics in boxing, ruin everything. There's too much nonsense in boxing. Just give the people the fight. All right. Lastly, we're going to talk about some high school sports roundup. Congratulations, Lynn Classical senior Darrell Rucker. He will be heading to Plymouth State College, where he will be playing basketball there. He's going to continue his basketball and education career there. Rucker, he was one of the leaders on the team. He was a senior. They went out against Lowell in the second round of the state tournament, but his coaches and his teammates, they appreciate his leadership. They appreciated his leadership and his hard work and the things he did for Classical. So, I mean, congratulations to him. I'm sure he'll do great at Plymouth State College, Plymouth State University, whatever. College, university, I don't know. Also, we're going to give a big congratulations to Mr. Antonio Anderson. He's been riding on a high since winning the state tournament, since winning the state title in March. He was named Massachusetts, USA Today Massachusetts Coach of the Year. He was Coach of the Year in the Northeastern Conference. He got the state title. And now this past weekend, he was inducted into the Lynn Tech Hall of Fame. He graduated from Lynn Tech, I believe, in 2003. He led them. He was on the team that won the state title, I believe 2002, either 2001 or 2002. I forget the years, but he won a state title at Lynn Tech, and he did a lot for that school. He did a lot for that program. The 4 years he was there, the 3 years he was there because he transferred from English. But the 3 years he was at Lynn Tech. So congratulations to him on being inducted into the Hall of Fame. That's a big thing. Anytime you're inducted to the Hall of Fame, that's big. Also, big congratulations to Alvin Abreu. He also was inducted to the Hall of Fame. He was inducted to the Lynn Classical Hall of Fame this past weekend as well. Alvin, a graduate of Classical, 2005. He 4 years on the basketball team. He had a great basketball career at Lynn Classical, and he's done a lot. He does a lot for the community too. Right now, he coaches for the rival English because he just he decided to come to the good side. Classical dark side. Kidding, but big congratulations to him and big congratulations to everybody. I believe there was 10 overall people inducted into the Lynn Classical Hall of Fame. Former football coach Coach Durgan was inducted into the Hall of Fame as well. So congratulations to everybody who was inducted this past weekend. And we're gonna give a shout out to Kevin Sawyer. I hope I'm saying Kevin Sawyer. He's a fan of the show. He told me this past weekend when I saw him at the 5K, he said he watches the show, so he likes it. So keep watching. We appreciate you watching it. You know, we appreciate everybody that watches it. Also, let me give some congratulations to my twins, to my little sisters, Diana and Stephanie. They graduated college this past weekend from Salem State, class of 2019. So congratulations to them. Congratulations to my cousin, Yasmin. She graduated from LSU a couple weeks ago. She graduated, got her bachelor's. My other cousin, Lynn, he's graduating. He's getting his master's as well. Everybody that's graduating, that's got their getting their undergraduate, their graduate, their PhD, high school diploma, class of 2019. Congratulations to all of you that are graduating, and also congratulations to all the Lynn seniors that will be graduating this Friday. Also, lastly, congratulations to all those athletes who participated in the Lynn All-City track meet yesterday at Manning Field. It was a great turnout. Everybody, a lot of people were there showing support to the young athletes. And, you know, congratulations to all of those athletes, those student athletes. And, you know, we're out of here. We're closed Monday. Memorial Day, we're closed, so we won't be here. You guys could come, but nobody's going to open the door. We won't be here. So we out of here Monday. Everybody have a great Memorial Day weekend. And hopefully Todd's back next week. I'm not sure. He might like it where he's at and stay over there and not come back. I don't know. It's hot over there, extremely hot. So the Thriller in Manila. He's not in Manila though. But yeah, you guys have a great day. I'm Mukala Kabongo. I've been your host for the one-man show of After the Whistle. We'll see you guys next week.